Hello boys and girls, it's Mrs. Jacobson here. We're going to be reading a book that's titled Just Ask, and this book is written by Sonia Sotomayor. She is the author of this book, and this book is illustrated by Rafael Lopez. He is the person who drew the pictures. Sonia and Rafael worked together to write this book. Something interesting about Sonia is that she was appointed by President Barack Obama in 2009 as an Associate Supreme Court Justice. She was the first Latina and Hispanic woman to be a justice. So if you want to learn more about the Supreme Court, you can ask your parents to do some research with you about that. But Sonia wanted us to know that being different and being brave and being ourselves is actually important, and that it can be a strength for us. On this page, boys and girls, you can see that there is a letter to the reader from Sonia. We're not going to read this, but the important thing is that she discovered when she was young, 7 years old, that she had diabetes. And later we will read more about Sonia and her diabetes. But she wanted us to know that when she was young, she felt alone. And so she wanted to write this book to explain how our differences can actually make us stronger in a good way. So we're going to go on and we're going to read about Sonia first. So here we go, boys and girls. Hi, I'm Sonia. My friends and I are planting a garden. Gardens are magical places. Thousands of plants bloom together. But every flower, every berry, and every leaf is different. Each has a different smell, different color, different shape, and different purpose. This is just like people, boys and girls. Some flowers need lots of sunlight. Others thrive in the shade. Some have to be trimmed regularly, while others are better off left alone. Some trees and flowers are more fragile, and others are more hardy. Kids are all different too. Some of us are in a hurry, and others take more time. Some of us seem shy and quiet, while others are chatty and loud. Some of our differences are easy to spot. Others take longer to notice. Each of us grows in our own way. So if you are curious about other kids, just ask. So boys and girls, when we ask questions, we learn. And when we learn more, we sometimes realize that we need to be a little bit more respectful about others' differences. So when we ask, we need to make sure that we're asking in a way where people don't feel bad. Not everyone is comfortable answering questions about themselves, but I don't mind. What am I doing? Several times a day, I prick my finger to measure the sugar in my blood, and I give myself shots of medicine called insulin. I do this because I have diabetes and my body doesn't make insulin naturally like other people's. Even though this can sometimes hurt, I gather all of my courage to do it to be healthy. Boys and girls, do you ever need to take medicine to be healthy? Yes, sometimes we do need to take medicine to be healthy, but we need to make sure that we are only taking the medicine that our parents or our grandparents or our nurses at school or the doctors at clinics are the ones giving us the medication, because they are the ones that know what we need and how much of what we need to take. So make sure you are only taking medication that is given to you by your parents. So we're going to learn about Rafael. I do. My name is Rafael, and I have asthma, which means I sometimes have trouble breathing. When that happens, I take a break and use an inhaler with medicine to make breathing easier. Quiet time helps me slow down and catch my breath. So down here it says, my inhaler is like a tool to help my body. Do you use a tool to help your body? Over here you can see Rafael's inhaler, and so he has it with him because he doesn't know when he's going to need it. Some people need it all the time, and some people only need it during certain periods of the day, maybe when they're exercising or running in gym. Again, make sure you're not using an inhaler if it isn't prescribed to you. So we're going to read about Anthony. I'm Anthony, and I use a wheelchair to get around. Even though I can't run with my legs, I can go super fast. So you can see Anthony is over here in his wheelchair, and he's getting around just like the other kids are, but just in a different way. How do you get from place to place? Sometimes I walk or ride my bike. I also run, sometimes too. So we're going to learn about Madison. My name is Madison, and my guide dog, Lucky, helps me get places safely because I'm blind. My friend Arturo is blind too. He uses a cane to get around. Even though we can't see, we strengthen our senses and notice lots of details others may miss. We can hear with our ears, smell with our noses, and feel with our hands. So over here you can see Madison and Arturo. They are using these tools, the stick and the dog, to help them get around. How do you use your senses to get around? My grandma is blind and she uses her hands a lot. She feels the walls to make sure that she knows what room she's in, and also to help keep herself safe so she doesn't hit her eyes or her head on anything. So we're going to read about VJ. I'm VJ. I learn about the world differently because I can see, but I can't hear. I'm deaf. Most of the time I communicate with people using my face and hands through sign language. It's cool to know another language. Boys and girls, did you know that sign language was actually another language? Mrs. Johnson, your music teacher, she knows sign language. You should ask her about it sometime. Over here it says, I also love reading and writing. What about you? Bianca. I'm Bianca and I have dyslexia, so I have to work really hard and take my time when I am reading and writing words. Sometimes I use computer programs to help me. I love learning by doing things. My imagination is full of ideas, and I'm very good at making art from the pictures I see in my mind. So boys and girls, Bianca learns how to read and write in a little bit different way, and that is okay. Over here it asks you a question. Are you really good at something? I bet you are. I'm really good at cooking, and I enjoy it too. I'm great at dinosaurs. I know all about them. I'm Jordan, and I have autism. Organizing and counting all my toy dinosaurs again and again make me feel calm. My classmate, Tiana, also has autism, but it's different for her. She doesn't talk, but I like to talk. I especially like to talk about dinosaurs. So boys and girls, these two kids have autism, but their autism isn't the same. One likes to talk and one doesn't. What do you like to talk about? I like to talk about traveling. It's one of my favorite things to do. For me, listening comes more easily than talking, and I am a really good listener. My name is Anne, and I speak with a stutter. So I sometimes repeat a word or get stuck when I try to say it. It may take me a little longer to express myself, and sometimes I'm too shy to talk, but I understand everything that's going on. So Anne, she doesn't like to talk because she's afraid of what it might sound like when the words come out. Do you ever wonder if people understand you? I think about that all the time. But I'd hope people would ask questions if they didn't. I do. My name is Julia. Sometimes I wiggle or make sounds that I can't control because I have Tourette syndrome. People may look at me funny because they think I am not paying attention or just acting out, but it's not true. I am listening. I don't always like having to explain. It frustrates me, but it helps when I tell people that it's just what my body does. As you can see Julia's face, you can see her eyes kind of winking and her mouth is up to the side. So sometimes people who have Tourette's have different kinds of movements that can be distracting to other people, but she says it frustrates her when they ask, so she just tells them. Do you ever feel frustrated? I certainly feel frustrated sometimes. My name is Manuel, and I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It is also called ADHD. I can get frustrated when I really feel the need to move around, and even though I'm supposed to sit still. When my teachers and friends are patient with me, if I forget something or get distracted. I can get myself back on track. So Manuel, he needs to move, and he can get himself back on track when he needs to. Sometimes it can be distracting to others, but it is what people need if they have ADHD. What's helpful to you? So space is helpful to Manuel, and being able to get up and move around. It's helpful to me when people are quiet, when I'm learning. So Nolan, I'm Nolan. It's helpful to me when the food I eat has a clear label that says it is nut-free, because I am allergic to nuts. They can make me so sick that I would have to go to the hospital if I ate any, even by accident. So I always tell people about my allergy and ask if any food has nut ingredients. Speaking up keeps me healthy. So yes, boys and girls, anybody who has a food allergy most likely has something called an EpiPen, and that will help them stay safe until they can get themselves to the hospital. But it's very important that they speak up to find out what is in their food. How do you use your voice? How do you use your voice, boys and girls? Maybe it's not just about food. Maybe it's about something you need. I love to sing and I love to talk. I love to make new friends and be included. I am Grace. I was born with Down syndrome. Kids like me with Down syndrome have an extra building block called a chromosome in our bodies. But we are all different from each other too. I can do almost anything any other kid can do, though learning new things can take some time. One way I learn is to ask questions. So Grace is also saying that she's a little bit different than others who have the same thing that she does as well. What helps you learn, boys and girls? So this is our last page, boys and girls, and it's Sonia again. I ask questions too. When something seems different or new, I just ask my parents or my teachers, and they help me to understand, especially if my friends don't feel ready to explain. This is what I've learned. Imagine if all the plants in this garden were exactly the same. Like, what if we only could grow peas? That would mean no strawberries or cucumbers or carrots. It might also mean no trees or roses or sunflowers. Just like in our garden, all the ways we are different make our neighborhood, our whole world really more interesting and fun. And just like all of these plants, each of us has unique powers to share with the world and make it more interesting and richer. So boys and girls, question over here asks, what will you do with your powers? So everyone is different, and we need to make sure that we are respecting everyone's differences. And when we ask questions and we invite people into our friendly circles of play in the classroom or on the playground, we learn more about one another. And when we learn more about one another, we appreciate our differences. So boys and girls, I hope that you like the book Just Ask, and if you are curious about someone else's difference, you ask them kindly. So please feel free to listen to this book again and reread it.